All right. Welcome to the Merry Podcast, where we talk about what it means to be merry when you're feeling high and when you're feeling low. I have my boy Jonathan with me, straight up Draft King. How you doing, Jonathan?
I'm doing well, Grant. Doing well. Good to see you. It's been since Claremont 20. What was that? Claremont 2020 since we've spoke face to face last. Pre-COVID times. Pre-COVID
Legit.
times.
BC, before COVID.
Yeah.
So how you been? Have you been racing?
I've been well. Haven't kind of like a lot of the country. Haven't done a lot of racing in 2020, man. Actually, the next race I did was Claremont 2021. So last
Ooh.
race I did in the season was, the draft legal EDR of 2020. Just kind of stayed consistent, adhered to the process through to finish out the year, and then resumed racing again in Claremont 2021.
That's crazy. Like it was a calendar year of no racing. I
Yeah,
read Phew. I read an article once that said triathlon was killed in 2020, but that's bogus. If it was, it revived this year, I think.
I agree, man. There's like plenty of awesome races going on, especially for long course stuff, like what the PTO has been doing, the Professional Triathlon Organization with Challenge Daytona and all the other challenge races. I think like triathlon, if anything's on the up now.
Wow. What? Challenge Daytona. I know that Lionel Sanders races that every year, but that's like, what is that? That's a 24-hour race, right? Or
It's not a 24-hour race. It's a 70.3 actually, that they recruited a bunch of kind of like the top pros. And the big thing this year was they had all the big ITU guys go against kind of like the big long course guys to see, who's got the bigger engine. Is it the ITU guys? Are they all bark no bite, or is it those long course guys that are putting in those long steady miles? But it was a really good race.
dang, well said. All bark, no bite. That's so true. Like, who has the highest FTP and who can like drop the most watts per like rotation? Like, oh man, who won? I forget. I didn't follow it too much.
Yeah, it was Gustav Iden from Norway.
Interesting.
So he won. He had like a killer bike and like an amazing half. I don't recall too many of the times because actually, truly, I don't follow the sport too closely. It's one of those that I
No worries.
really enjoy training, love participating in, but I'm like, it's not as fun, at least personally for myself, to watch.
Dude, that makes sense. Like, it's also like a hard sport to watch and like follow. Like, you can't exactly go to a meet and see like the whole field, you know, you can only see part of it.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah. But that's crazy. Like, I wonder, like Norwegians, if they're gonna be on the up and up, because it's been Germans dominating for a while. I feel like with seat with Kenley and with Sebastian Kenley and with Jan Frodeno
Jan Frodeno, yeah.
and Hogg. Oh my gosh. Do you think they will have Kona 2021?
I think they will have Kona 2021 just because they had Challenge Daytona. And that was one of the races to where it was kind of like one of the first big ones where they finally got all the pros together. They let loose all that angst from not having raced in months. And so I think they'll be able to, like, they've had time to kind of like see what other people have been doing and then make a process to where they can get the racing back. So I think they'll have Kona this year.
Dude, that gets me so stoked thinking about like Kona happening again. That was tragic. That was so tragic. Did you,
Yeah.
did you sign up for any races last year? Like they got canceled?
I didn't have too much on my calendar, truthfully. Like my big goal was to do Claremont, and I was thinking maybe doing a couple of like small, maybe local ones, save a little bit of money, so I wouldn't have to do all the travel. Do maybe something in Michigan. But my goal um, for 2020 was like the draft legal, because from beginning my journey in triathlon back in around 2015, 2016, kind of before starting college, I was doing triathlon as cross training for running collegiately. And then when collegiate running didn't work out, I switched over full on to triathlon full time. And then it was
Wow.
after Claremont 2020 that I started getting a coach instead of doing my own coaching. So now having my own direction, it was more a focus of getting the training right, actually more strict training regime that I was able to follow. And so that, if anything, served as kind of my racing, letting out and doing some like big training sessions that I didn't organize, that my coach was able to organize for me. And I was able to like kind of like bring that excitement and that energy into my training for 2020 as opposed to racing instead and expressing myself that way. I was expressing myself and the process through my training.
Man, that is so cool. I didn't know that you've been training for 5 years for triathlon. That makes sense why you have, like, such power, like, on the bike and everything. Like, you can seriously pull, like, break the
It's
wind, no doubt.
yeah, it was more kind of like very one foot in training, one foot in, everything else. For the longest time, I've always been the guy of I think I can be that $1 million man of jack of all trades, master of none, kind of in a way. I was hoping to be like jack of
Nice.
all trades, master of all of them. So it was like, you got the work schedule, you have to be good at school, and then just fit the triathlon training in when you can. So the training was very
Jeez.
much like, it's a nice day today. We'll do a workout. Oh, it's cold and rainy today. We'll rest today. So it wasn't very structured at all, but it was very running focused for the longest time before I made the decision. So I'd say this is probably, for at least this calendar year, probably the most triathlon intensive training that I have been doing. But I've been loving it. So how about
Yeah.
how about you, man? How's all the cycling been in Korea?
Phew. Dude, the cycling in Korea is next level. I went on a ride yesterday, and I ended up in, I believe it was Yangsu. And then the last 3 weekends, I bumped into this guy who's just like an absolute legend. And the funny thing about him is that like he works for Samsung, but like when I found out he worked for Samsung, it was hilarious because he was like, "What are you doing later?" And I was just like, "I don't know, maybe getting a book, something like that." And he was like, just interested in my day. And then I was like, "But yeah, what are you doing with your day?" And he was like, I'm studying law for a company. Have you heard of Samsung? I'm like, yeah, bro. I think I've heard of Samsung, like in passing, maybe they do phones,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. Like they're the like leading competitor with Google or with iPhone. They've really been like the only company that really touch iPhone, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
but anyways, this dude's incredible. Like I saw him one weekend and it was funny because like the way I met him, our meet cute, I guess if you will, for this absolute bro is I went to like hit on two girls at a gas station because there's
Yeah.
gas stations along the road. And I like used like Google Translate to like
Oh, yeah,
translate
yeah,
a
yeah.
phrase into Korean. I was like, can I ride with you guys? And like immediately when I went up to say the phrase, they were like, and that means like no. And so I was like, oh man. And I just like ate that rejection. And I was just like, all right, there are four dudes. They will at least like say like a little bit more politely. And then they were like, I went up to these dudes and they were just like, we're done with riding today. Like my bro La Hyung, that's what I call him because La is his last name and Hyung means older brother.
Okay.
La Hyung Nim if like it's like respectful, like if we're in a social setting. And La Hyung Nim, he was just like, let me get your cacao, let me get your instant messenger. That's what they use over here is cacao. And um, then like later in the day, he was just like, bro, um, you probably haven't made many friends yet. Have you made many friends yet? And I was just like, to be honest with you, 100% honesty right now, it's hard to make friends when all you want to do is like drop watts and praise God. So it's like, I haven't made many friends. And he's like, oh, it's okay. Cheer up, bro. Like, And then next weekend I was riding and I was at this bridge where like you can cross this 5 kilometer river, right? It's called the Bampo Bridge. And out of nowhere I
Okay.
just hear La Hyung, La Hyung. Or not La Hyung. I hear Jinro, Jinro, Young Jin, and that's my name. And so he came out of nowhere and he was just like, "Bro, we're riding up to the mountain. You gotta come with us." And I was like, "Okay, bet." And he's like, "Do you have any plans?" And so we rode together. And then this weekend, I just made a random plan to like bike east of Seoul for like ever and take a train back because you can take a
Okay.
train, your bike on a train in the weekends. And so I start at Yangsu and I get this cup of coffee because it's like I'm like tripping because it's like bike road. It's like this 100-meter stretch where it's just like 100 to like 300 bikes on racks for like the whole weekend. There's like a coffee shop that's playing like Tour Day Korea or some random
Oh,
obscure
wow.
cycling event. And
Yeah.
like, dude, there's like people there, like they have like this tent set up and they're like checking out people's bikes. And they're like, I like go to bring my bike up to that spot because I need air in my tires. And they're like, "How can we help you?" And I'm just like, "Whoa, that's so weird," because everybody speaks Korean. Like it's a
Yeah.
pride thing. Like the Korean language is twice as old as American history. It's insane. And it's the only language that was invented by a king for the people. And but anyways, yeah. So I'm getting coffee and I'm like checking my number, checking to see if they made my latte yet. And out of nowhere, I hear this guy just say, "Young Jin?" And I just turned around and instantly made contact with La Hyung Nim. And like we
Yeah.
bike for like the next 3 hours. And then Samsung buys me lunch for the second weekend in a row. And it's just like completely random
Yeah.
because like,
That's awesome. That's super cool, man.
dude, it's like a god thing. Like, but yeah, you gotta check out cycling. Like, do you like long and straight roads or do you like windy and hilly roads? What do you think?
I love excuse me. I love long, like windy, hilly. I'll lose my mind if it's long straight. Like I can do long straight for a while if I'm, doing interval training or something like that, and you're just like I'm focused, I'm dialed in. But nothing beats, in my opinion, just like long winding, and that's kind of like the roads that we have here around Michigan. Now, I don't know if you've seen much of my. I still need to follow you on Strava, so I was gonna say all my loops are like weird shapes and stuff like that instead of kind of like boxes, kind of like you have a county mile this way, county mile that way, county mile the other direction. But yeah, I love the winding.
So Michigan has hills? I was expecting it to be like Ohio and it would be like flat and like you said, county roads for a square.
Yeah, it's so southeast Michigan where I'm staying right now in Ypsilanti, Michigan. So that's like out of Ann Arbor and Detroit. So like something that like Michiganders do is you have Michigan, the palm, and then like, oh, I'm from here, I'm from here, I'm from here. So Ypsilanti is sort of right about there on the mitt, and then you'll have Detroit closer to the lake and stuff
Canada.
like that. So
Yeah.
I'm around this area, and that's
Ah.
there's a lot of greenery, a lot of state parks around in that area that has kind of like that winding hilly roads. The further north you go, that's when you get like that county mile flatland stuff.
No way. That's so cool. I love places that have the best of both worlds. Like Korea, I didn't know if it had hills, but you have to travel like an hour outside of Korea on a bullet train to get to like an area where you can actually get to the hills because inside of Seoul, there's just miles and miles of flat, of this bike road that's like literally you can't take a car on it and that just goes. And so you can follow this yellow line and ignore everything for as long as you want. But you can also get the hills apparently because there was some climbing yesterday. There were 10% gradients, and like
Woo!
dude,
Woo!
dude, like don't get me wrong. There are some like Koreans with like quads and like calves the size of like bodybuilders, but the majority of Koreans are like lanky people who like can't do the hills. So like I was me as like a Blue Ridge guy, I like cranked up to them, and it was so funny because I was like trying to make him laugh like the whole time. It was good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I always forget that you went to college right outside of Asheville, and like you guys would train on Blue Ridge all the time on Mount Mitchell, isn't that?
we would we would we're like closer to like the Roanoke side, so we would hit like the Blue Ridge Parkway all the time. But yeah, like Lynchburg, Virginia, oh my gosh, yeah. Some good hills, dude. Thanks for
Yeah,
remembering that. That's crazy. That's
that's for
crazy.
sure.
Where's
Liberty, man, Liberty University. How could I
yeah.
forget? How could I forget? Day one, man, you saved my life
Dude,
on
no.
Claremont there.
Dude, no
Yeah,
way. Yo, do you know I got lapped out that day? That was craziness. Like you
I
made it to the
remember.
end, right?
I remember we
Oh
talked
my.
afterwards, and you're like, "My goal day two is just not to get lapped out."
Yeah, that's got to be your goal like when you're starting the elite development, right? Just not to
Mm,
get lapped out. But
survive,
yeah.
survive, and hope you get a good bike pack.
Dude, Mark Fairley, he like podium 2 years in a row. Like
Yeah,
what a nut.
yeah,
Um
because he won day one or day two in 2020, correct?
yeah, right. First day. Correct.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember seeing him. He was one of the faces I remembered on the run course because it's just like a road and you'll pass people as someone's going the opposite direction. You're going the other way to hit the turnaround and come back. And I remember seeing his face and I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad he's doing well as he was up in the top group running again.
Dude, the way you talk about it, it's just so vivid. Like I love that. Like how endurance athletes they can just link up with like races and just like the struggle of that shit. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's incredible how you're like tunnel vision, but also at the same time and incredibly hyper aware of everything around you. How like
yes.
some things you're like, I have no idea, but other details you're like, I could paint you the perfect picture of the scenario at the same time.
He got his start just like you, like with track and field anyway. Like he was a steeple man. What
Oh,
was
okay.
your race like in high school?
In high school, we didn't have steeplechase or anything like that in my divisions, anything like that in Ohio. But I was more of a mile, 2 mile guy. So
Ah,
I would run like I was kind of the utility man too because I came from a small school, smaller division. Because we were a Division two school, so that's like the one before the largest division.
right on.
Because I know other people have like AAA, AA, other divisions in different states work differently.
Huh.
But so they would kind of like in track meets make me do the 800, the mile, the 2 mile. But my favorites are always mile and 2 mile.
What was your time for the mile and 2 mile? Like just curious.
Yeah, so my 2 mile time, I was a 9:43. That was my junior year. And then I ran a 4:24 mile. Same thing,
Whoa,
junior year.
dude, that's like Iliad Kipchoge speed. That's insane.
I know, and the crazy thing is he sticks with that for a marathon, and then
Oh yeah,
keeps
like
going. He keeps going after 2 miles.
dude, people were roasting him because like he like they said like, oh, it's not a real 2 hour marathon because like, but whatever, dude. His like in 2016 in Brazil, he ran a 2:04 just on his own in the Olympics.
Yeah,
Like cutting 4 minutes is not like an incredible like feat for the man, like because he did that on his own. Like
yeah,
it's
exactly. And then he also raced recently. He went, I believe, 2:03 something. Was it?
oh, that's fantastic. Where at?
I'm not sure, guys. I
Okay.
remember like the same people that kind of put down together
Sub two.
the sub two. Let's see.
But
Doing a little Google search here. Oh, it was 2:04:30.
wow, that's
So
insane. Still, like to like run, like the science is what got him sub four, but like they're sub two, but the oh yeah, let's go. This
yep,
guy.
it was right there. Kipchoge wins the NN Mission Marathon in 2:04:30.
Let's that's crazy. That's
How do you
crazy.
pronounce? I
Oh
didn't know they had all this.
yeah.
Elliot Kipchoge answering Google's top questions in video form.
That's awesome.
That's
Dude, to
pretty cool.
go to Kenya Oh my gosh. Can you imagine going to Kenya, and, like, running with those guys? That would be so surreal. Like,
Yeah,
I'm sure you
in the
they would
training camps, like in Nairobi, that would
yeah.
be incredible.
They would probably be worried about you, like, because after they leave you, but you'll be like, "Go on without me, I'm fine, I've got
Yeah,
Google. I've got
I,
I've got GPS, I'm good.
I'll
Don't
follow
worry
the
about me.
breadcrumb. It'll take me back to the start. We're good.
I'll look out for black mambas."
Yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah,
Oh,
those guys are on a whole nother level.
I heard something good. I heard black mambas are, like, not as scary as they seem. They're usually hanging out in trees. So if you just avoid, like, trees, then you're good. 'Cause I guess that's their, like, hunting ground. Everyone has to have a turf, and, like, the big cats hang out in the prairies, and then the black
Right on.
mambas, they're usually in the snakes or they hide in boots. But those guys are crazy. They'll kill things, and they won't even eat them. But, their venom kills in 2 minutes, and they can strike at 20 meters per second. Insane,
Whew.
insane.
Yeah,
I'm just
definitely something you don't want to get caught with one of those with your pants
yeah.
down in a dark alley.
Yeah, they call them the Widowmakers, but they call so many things the Widowmakers, like, from falling tree branches to, like, killer snakes, like, it's crazy.
Right, to like random hills on a group ride.
Oh, yeah,
Like
widow
that's this hill right here. We call her the Widowmaker. Like, you better be ready.
This hairpoint turn, we call it the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
Dude, we gotta ride together sometime, like, when there's no, like, 2-week quarantine, because I wouldn't wish a 2-week quarantine on, like, my enemy, dude. It's brutal. Even with, like, modern electronics, it's still isolation.
Yeah, because you went through that when you first came through to Korea. Isn't that correct? You had to stay in your apartment, and I don't believe you even didn't take much with you, did you?
Oh, dude, no. Like, I just took a carry-on bag and my checked bag. And like, the funny thing about quarantine in Korea, because they handled the pandemic like the lowest numbers per capita and the highest test per capita. And so when you get to the airport, you like see like 5 people, and they install the quarantine app on your phone and they make sure it's working. And you have to check in like 2 times per day, but I think the most important and the most intense thing of this app is that if you leave your apartment, even to take out, like, the garbage, they'll know. And so if you do,
Interesting.
they'll deport you, like, they'll send you back.
Yeah,
Um,
it's they no jokes, no jokes. It's a serious
yeah.
matter, so I guess
Dude, it
warrants a serious punishment.
yeah, and you know how we are, not to generalize, but you know how we are as Americans. We're just like, "Ah, it's a cold, like, tough it out, you know?
Right.
Have a lie low for a weekend and then you're good." But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Take some Allegra.
yeah, some Motrin and you'll be fine. I mean,
Exactly.
unless
Sleep it off. Sleep it off. Hot shower, sleep it off.
yeah, just rub
Or
some
like
dirt on it.
the Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yes. All you need some Vicks and you'll be good. Chicken noodle soup and you're fine.
Exactly. Every state has their own thing. Like
Yeah.
my parents would always be like, "Oh yeah, get some Vicks Vapor Rub and drink some 7 Up, and then you'll be fine in the morning."
7 Up. Yes, sip it. Sip it slow.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yes.
can't chug it, even though you want to. It's just sip a 7 Up with some Vicks and go to bed early, and you'll be $1,000,000 in the morning.
My mom said she was sick one time and I just like came home from the grocery store with like a 2 liter of 7 Up.
Yeah, exactly. See, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
So where in Ohio are you from? I didn't even know.
So I'm from Northwest Ohio. So kind of like what I would always do in college when because the Michigan kids could always go, I'm from here, I'm from here, I'm from here.
Yeah.
So I would always just like hold up a fist,
Oh
like
yeah.
since that's kind of like the shape of Ohio or whatnot. And it'd be like,
Love it.
oh, I'm from like around this area. Cause like that would be where I would be from, Northwest Ohio. It's a little bit south of Toledo, if you know where Toledo, Ohio is, which
I
is really close to the border.
Is it near
Um,
Finley?
yeah, it's really, really close to Finley. I almost actually went to college in Finley.
Yeah, Finley. My mom was an adjunct prof there for a while.
Oh, no way.
I'm from Tiffin, which is just a little south of Finley.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you were from Tiffin. That's so cool.
Yeah. How about you? What, dude? It's crazy. I worked at
Small
Fry's
world.
Foods, like the onion ring factory, for like
Yeah.
2 summers.
Dang, man. It's crazy. I didn't know you were from Ohio. I thought you were a Virginia guy, tried and true, like all life.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like when the recession hit, we moved down to North Carolina, and then when my sister wanted to go to school in Virginia, my dad got a job at Liberty as a teacher, so we moved up to, or I went up to Liberty for 2 years. I always claim Virginia because like people ask you where you're from. I just say, I assume the rest of the question is like, where's the most immediate place that you lived? And so Virginia, it was like home for me.
Right,
It
right,
was,
right.
whew.
A lot. I feel the same thing. It's a lot of the time people ask like, "Oh, where are you from?" It's like I grew up in Ohio. I would consider myself, an Ohio boy,
Yeah.
but I came from Michigan and I've been in Michigan for the past 5 years. So a lot of the times I'll say, I'll just be like, "Yeah, from Michigan."
Yeah. What do you do for work, by the way?
So right now, what I'm doing is I'm working at a bike shop, actually. So I'm the sales rep, and I do a little bit of service mechanicing as well.
Nice. What company or what bikes do you guys sell? Do you guys specialize or track or giant?
Yeah, we're mainly specialized. That's our main distributor, but
Nice.
given like bike shops right now is just like a whole can of worms of
True.
like
Cause
so many supply chains have been broken, and it's like that with not just bicycles. It's yeah with like anything outdoorsy. Like if you're a car guy,
yeah.
um, it's
Oh,
hard to get
geez.
car parts right now. It's just like manufacturing has gone haywire. But
Yeah. Uh,
yeah, we're mainly a specialized dealer. We also
whew.
deal felt, pivot, Cervelo, and Norco, which is a Canadian brand, and that's a recent one.
Yeah, I worked at a bike shop for a year, and we usually sold Trek, and we sometimes sold Giant, but then we ended up like selling Norco, Surly, like just
Yeah,
because like,
yeah, yep, yep, yep.
dude, people have like an extra. Some people have an extra $1,400 that they don't need, and they're just gonna drop it on a bike. Like, why not? It's a
Yeah.
good investment in your health.
I
So
agree, man. I agree. It's like for the longest time, running was my favorite discipline in triathlon. It was my favorite thing to do. I'm a runner. I love running. Blah 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 blah. It's like I tried to pursue the sport in college, so of course I loved running. But as soon as I started picking up like cycling, I got myself a nice bike. Had these nice routes. Like I love my time on the bike. Like tomorrow, um, because it's 10:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the States.
ooh,
Um,
yeah.
on the 24th. So it's the 25th where you guys are. But so the 25th, my time, I have scheduled a 5 hour ride. And like, I'm so excited for it because it's just like endurance, mainly endurance, a couple of like kind of low cadence strength stuff in there. But a majority of it's just going to be enjoying the ride and like enjoying the sights and the
Jeez.
nice day.
That
So I'm
sounds
so
so
excited for it.
calculated, man. To be a bike on your wheel, dude. That sounds crazy. So, dude, you have like some program like that sounds so calculated. Like, how did you how did you map that out? Like, did you just like go on just like Google Maps and or like what do you like to use to program your rides?
Yeah. So what I like to do to program my rides, before I always used Strava. That was my go-to. I would have like I still have a collection of all my Strava maps before it became a premium thing.
Let's go. Oh, yeah.
Because
Jeez.
now you have to have Strava Premium to use the mapping feature.
I
So I
know.
was like, I'm
It
like,
used to be
you
such
have
a
to.
free app, man.
I
Remember,
know, and it
like
was the
even
best.
leaderboards has gone private, like unless you're top 10.
Unless you're top 10. Yeah, if you're top 10,
There's
then you can see and you can see like your previous efforts. That's gone
yeah.
private now. I'm like, "Oh, that was my
Have you
favorite
seen the
thing."
memes of like Strava will always be free for people that are like legends who can always hold the KOM? Like,
Yeah, exactly. They'll always
like
know what they're doing.
pro tip, like just become like top 10. Oh my
Right.
gosh.
And then you won't have to wonder anymore. You won't have to
Yeah.
wonder.
Oh yeah.
But what I pretty much use now is just Garmin Connect.
Mm,
For the longest time, I didn't have a bike computer either. I just was simple. I had a TomTom watch. Now I have
ooh.
the 735, the Garmin 735. Since I started working at the shop, you can like just employee purchase them from Garmin, since we're
Yes.
distributors. So I'm like, if I can get a good deal on a new watch, I may as well do Garmin, and since I'm mapping all my stuff there.
You have
But
those pro rates. That's what we always used to call them at the shop, the pro rates.
the pro rates, yeah, exactly. But this is the plan for tomorrow. Just
Oh, let's
couple.
go.
It's pretty chill actually for Michigan. Like the South, everything kind of like south of Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti. This down here, all this stuff is pretty flat because this is
Wow.
still kind of like more the basin, really close to Lake Erie.
Yeah.
And then the more you go north, like this area, this is where it gets really hilly. So like only 1,000 feet elevation for like 100 over 100 miles is really chill. That's really lax.
Doubt. Like that
So
gradient is like 1%. Not even 1%.
yeah,
Dude.
just like relaxed the whole way.
103, basically 103 miles. Dude, that's a long ride. And you're gonna do it in 5 hours? Dude.
I'm hoping to. Usually my endurance pace is anywhere around 20 miles an hour, especially if it's going to be like flat like this and it's not
Yeah.
windy.
Mm,
Recently, actually, I invested in getting a time trial bike. That's something I never had for the longest time. I just had my Giant that I raced
yeah.
on at Clearmont, and I'm actually thinking about doing a 70.3 at the end of June in Texas. And
Let's
so I
go.
figured I'm like, if I'm going to be doing draft league or non-draft legal, because draft legal is so hard to find in the States.
True.
If I want to do any kind of racing, you have to have the proper tools for it. So
No doubt.
I
And that's
invested in the TT bike finally.
yeah. And oh my gosh, like you can probably get like such a I love that Specialized has different tiers of TT bikes, right? I find that like sometimes the people with the most heart have like the cheapest bike. You know?
I
Like
know it's because I agree. I
they
agree.
just have more time to ride or something, dude. I don't know.
It's always
But
those guys that just like feel like they can buy speed or something like that have the absolute specked out bicycles. And by no means am I
no.
like, crapping on the guys that have the nice bikes,
Yeah.
but it does seem like that. It's always those dentists that like my wife left me, so like my kid's college fund is going right into the bicycle. And they have the nicest stuff, but they're like they don't care. They could care less how much they train or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, I'll take a plane to the top of the descent and only go down instead of climbing
Yep.
back up.
My front derailleur on my bike is just garbo. Like, not to shit on my bike, I love my bike, but it's like jammed. And so I have like a mechanic who knows how to fix it, but it's only this one mechanic. Thank God he lived in Canada for 2 years because I go in there, I'm like, young, like my bike is messed up. And so but anyways, like last weekend I was doing a long ride and like it had some hills. And so like at a light, I just flipped my gear forward and shifted it into the down, but it can't go up. So every time we got on the flat, I had to literally manually switch it
Yeah,
up.
you're like, hold on. Do you push it forward so you're not just like spinning like crazy, not going anywhere?
Yeah, there's this one guy that was just laughing at all of my jokes. Like they were talking about coronavirus, and he was like, or actually everybody laughed at that. And they were just like, I was just like, I just can't trust a virus that doesn't have symptoms. And we just all like roared with laughter because they're Samsung guys. They want the economy to be strong. And so like
Right.
they were just like I don't know if they understood it, but we were all belly laughing. And then the next stop, like this guy said, poop time, and then he dropped like he went like 25 miles per hour. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Because he said it in Korean and then he sprinted off because
Then he takes off.
he didn't want to take a dump on his $7,000 bike. So I was like, what happened? And then the other guy that was like just a funny guy, he was like, poop time. And I showed him my derailleur and he just laughed so hard. But then the guy with the like nice bike, he was just like looking at me in like horror. Like, how do you have a bike that's front derailleur doesn't work?
Right. So
Yeah.
pivotal, especially if you're gonna be going out to the outskirts
Oh,
of Korea and doing those climbs.
yeah, dude. You would love it, dude. There's this road, this bike road that goes from Seoul all the way down to Busan, which is 450 kilometers. In American terms, that's almost 300 miles.
Yeah,
Um, of course, you do triathlon, you know. So, yeah, it's like crazy cool because it's literally like a road that's like half the size and the same, like same rules, like white line, yellow dash line, white line. And yeah, it's just like the camaraderie, man. It's insane. If you are like bonking and you get passed by a pack, you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna catch this pack, and then I can, you know, like I can ride with them for like 4 kilometers or maybe the whole day. And
yeah.
dude, it
That's
literally
super cool, man. That's so cool.
it's like an alternate reality because like in America, sometimes like you'll get flipped off, you'll get, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, some
There's
like, dude, did you? I heard this comedian one time and I got so pissed off. He was like, "What would happen if we just like nudged him off the road?" And I was like, "Oh, that's so cringe. Like this is why Americans are fat." No, I'm
yeah.
just
Like it's a death wish to just ride your bicycle in the
yeah,
States.
I know, right?
There's a couple roads where they'll be cool, but then you get to that uncharted territory where like, a big 4x4 truck comes up and then it's that classic like, oh, I'm in danger.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, and descents are crazy too, because you're just like, oh, oncoming car.
Yeah. Ah!
You learn quick. You learn quick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to learn quick.
It helps with balance because you can. That white line is the bike lane.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I'm in danger. That meme.
But that's cool, man. I wish we had some more stuff like that in America. Usually like the designated bike lanes in the States are kind of like
Yeah,
where just like the commuters will go or people will use it as a running path or somewhere to walk or something like that. So it's
yeah.
like ironically the bike lane is not the best place to bike.
Yeah, yeah. It's like even in the city, like you should ride on the like you shouldn't ride on the sidewalk. I think we could pool our money together and like maybe I know taxation is theft, but like it would be pretty dope to have like a bike road. I don't know. It's hard though because like where would we put it? We also have so much land in America. Korea
Yeah,
is
we
an
have a lot of
island,
infrastructure and I
dude.
would it's not as much to where it's everyone's living on top of everyone. It's just more spread out in the States. So
Yeah.
like when like the cities grow, they grow out more than up.
Yeah, like you'll more than likely see like a one-story building than a two or three. It's
Right.
crazy. Yeah.
Right on, right on. That's cool, man. That's real cool. So how you're teaching in Korea? Is that correct?
Yeah, man. I got just like an entry level teaching job. If you have a TEFL certification, it takes like 8 weeks to get the teaching certification for a foreign language. And so yeah, I just started at this private school, and I've been working there for 3 months now. It's pretty cool. Like the kids pay 500, the parents, I should say, the parents pay $500 a month to go there. So it's like they're paying tuition, and it shows. I mean, the kids are definitely interested in their education. That or they just like $500 is like a meal, you know. So
Hmm.
either way, they're sweet kids, and I do love them, even when they're crazy. Uh, yeah. Oh my gosh, it's crazy because some of these kids have like outfits. I'm like, whoa, that's a designer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like I think us Midwest guys were just like, yeah, let's go thrifting, let's save some cash.
Yeah, exactly. I've got my khaki shorts on, my jeans. I'm good to go. Throw a hoodie on it. Some Vans if you're going out. Throw some Vans on.
Yes.
But it's something that I've heard actually. Again, it could be completely incorrect, but from a couple of like the international students that come over, they're saying like those designer brands are actually so much cheaper overseas. Like when you buy them in stores there, as compared to here when you come to the States, and you're wearing all this designer clothes that we deem in the States like high end fashion, and to them they're like it's nice clothes, but I wasn't spending an arm and a leg like you would here.
Oh shoot, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Like startup companies in like America, like you can get $17 running shorts, right? Or you could get like $40 Nike running shorts, and like they're like the same quality, same like fabric in a way. But like in Korea, those Nike running shorts may be like 30 or $20 because that's all they got. Like they have Adidas, they have Nike, like big corporations have been huge since the 80s. Like Samsung
Right
is
on.
a thing because like the government at the time, they wanted big conglomerates to compete with China. And so ever since like they made moves to like make companies huge, they've been like also kind of stimulated by the government. And so they create laws to keep big companies safe, which is it's really
Interesting.
different, you know. It's like Korean is a capitalist society, but like their government is strong. Like don't talk crap about the government if you want to be a cool person. You know, if you want to be normal or cool, like don't say like, "Oh, these policies for masks, they're kind of dumb, huh?" Like you can say that
Yeah,
to kids
the
and get some clout, but like to adults, like I'm like, back in America, Texans aren't wearing masks, and the kids are like, "Yes!" But like if I say like back that to an adult, they'll be like, "Yeah, America's pretty dumb." And I'm like, "No, America's not dumb. America, you can vote with where you live in America, and each state makes moves. And, you know, I think it's kind of clear that like the moves that Texas is making are cooler than the moves that California has been making. Thus, people are moving from California to Texas. I mean, sometimes it's like economic, like people need money, so they need a job, so they have to move to where the jobs are at. Sometimes it's like social, and yeah, it's kind of tough.
Right on, right on. I agree to that. Like, I actually spent 2 months in Texas at the beginning of the year, on just like a training camp before Claremont. Um,
Nice.
and yeah, it's definitely like socially a lot different from here in Southeast Michigan, where we tend to be a little bit more progressive here in Michigan, and then you go down to um, Texas, where it tends to be a little bit more conservative. They're proud of their roots down there. That's
Yeah.
always the thing. Like everything's bigger in Texas, the big state of Texas.
Yeah.
And like, although I did enjoy my time, I didn't enjoy my time as much socially as I did here in
Uh,
Michigan. Like I have more of my like-minded friends, things like that. And I still was able to make friends and enjoyed my time there with like the new faces.
mm,
But I could tell, like, when you get in those moments where you're talking to your friends about policies or anything like that, I found I disagreed more with people there than I did here. So I agreed, like, if it was the other way around,
mhm.
then yeah, that definitely plays a force in why you would kind of like pick up all your stuff and then move it on over to somewhere else and stimulate their state economy
Yeah.
because you like their policies as opposed to some other states.
Yeah. I think I technically lean like more conservative and small government, but I think I'm a lot like you in that like I can go both ways, but you know, I think at the end of the day, like I think we can both agree that like it takes both sides to like run a country, you know? Like I don't know. Like there's merit to the right and the left, so yeah.
Right. Right on. Very cool.
Yeah.
I like the Trek hat. So is that the bike that you're riding right now? Because I remember you before you had, what was it? It was a Madone, was it that you had?
Yeah. Whew, yeah, I had a Madone SL6 2020, which is like the entry level Madone, but yeah, it was a pretty penny. I actually got it on prorate when I was working for that Trek bike shop. But yeah, now I'm riding a Monda I found off of like Korean Craigslist, and it's pretty nice. It's a carbon, so it's like light enough, and you know, it's got all the bells and whistles. It's a Shimano 105, so it's pretty good, pretty mid tier.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
105, man. It's that economic workhorse. It's the same.
Yes.
What people don't realize, it performs the exact same as Ultegra, but Ultegra is just lighter. That's the only thing it's got going for it.
Yeah. All right. All right. I love that. I love that. Yeah.
So you can still kick butt on the 105s. There's no need to
Yeah.
be pooping on 105.
Dude, I've seen some E taps out here, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah, ETAP's real nice. DI, that's the kind of the thing between, like, for electronic shifting, it's like Coke or Pepsi. You have Shimano DI2 or you have SRAM Red ETAP. And I'm on the E-Tap. I'm an E-Tap guy, like, because it's truly wireless. Then it's truly wireless. You don't have to deal with, especially from a mechanical standpoint, like routing all the wires to the junction box for DI2. But with E-Tap, man, you don't gotta worry about that.
Dang, that's insane. And they're like $15,000 bikes, right? Like, not to be all about the money, but they're
Right? Yeah.
crazy.
Usually, I would not always $15. You'll get the E-Tap. But it is tend to be anything north of 2,000 if you want some E-Tap.
Oh, north of
2,000
2,000.
USD. Yeah,
Oh, that's not
I'm
bad.
looking at your Instagram right now, just looking at your
See,
bike. But yeah, man, that's cool. I like it. I like the white bar tape. The white bar tape pro, it's a ballsy look though. It's ballsy.
I I get grease on it so much, and I'm just like, why did I pick white? I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
like,
like if you do any kind of like on the road service on your bike, you get anything on your hands, and then the second you start riding, it looks like trash.
I know, dude. It's like I don't know how long you will stay white, but like I'm not the most sterile person either, and I have like a white bike on white tape. Like, what am I doing?
It's clean though. When it's clean, it's clean. It's one of those things when the white on white, when it
Yeah.
looks good in my opinion.
Dude, my youngs, they always show me tough love. They're like, "Man, you need to wash your bike." And I was like, "Yeah, I take a shower with my bike every Saturday night after the long ride." And they were like, "That dirt is from a week?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of like to get after it." They're just like
Yeah, 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 yeah,
big
yeah.
eye roll, like that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
That's
it was,
funny. But yeah, I will say a clean bike is a happy bike, man, and happy bikes are fast bikes. That's
yeah.
usually my thing. I always pride myself in having a clean drivetrain.
I have like a clean drivetrain on Monday, but I'd say by like
Yeah.
Friday.
After that, it's whatever happens, happens. Then you take it on that shower on Sunday.
Yeah, it's like it's not good, and then it is good. But oh man, yeah. Well,
That's fun. Very
oh
cool.
man, we should do this again sometime.
I agree, man. I agree. It was super awesome giving you a chat, being on the podcast.
Right on, man. All right. I think I learned a lot. Like it's nice talking to other cyclists because like sometimes I just like to ride and I don't like to do the research of it. And the nitty gritty is so important for improvement.
Yeah, exactly. It's so much like what I learned just in my time in the shop and being a mechanic, kind of um there's the just that stereotype of, when you are a triathlete, you know nothing about cycling or you know nothing about bike maintenance or bike care or anything like that. And
Yeah,
I saw this like super funny meme the other day. I posted it on my story of we'll see if I can bring it up
I
while I'm
know which
talking
meme
here.
you're talking about. The one where it's like the girl and she's like, "Oh, what do you guys do for a sport?" And then the one guy's like, you know, I'm a triathlete, and the other guy's like, I'm a cyclist. And then she asks,
Yeah, it's
"Are you
like
guys friends?"
yeah. And the triathlete's like, yes. And then the other guy's like, no. The cyclist says no.
It's so true. I feel like that goes back to the jack of all trades, master of none, like mentality. Like triathletes are like, "Oh, I want to get better at cycling. I should go with these guys." And then the cyclists are like, "We want to be masters at our craft." And I don't know. Naturally, there it is. I
Yeah.
love that.
No. We do not like you.
Yes, dude.
But I agree, man. I agree. It's always good. I always love talking bikes, talking rides and routes. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna get some lunch. I'll talk to you next time, man.
Yep.
Stay
Sounds good,
merry.
dude. It's been
Peace.
awesome.
Later.
Peace.